So let's break down a few points that are really important to remember when it comes to assessing your sacred rage. Rage is a messenger, not a malfunction. Rage is not a sign that you are failing your spiritual path, but ignoring it and avoiding it is. Judging it very much could be, even if it's only a little trip up on the cobblestones of the spiritual path. That is inherently dismissing what this sacred messenger is here to show you. It is often a sign that something in your inner world has been violated, ignored, or abandoned. Rage says a boundary has been crossed, a wound has been touched, a truth was denied, or a part of you needs protection. Rage is not the problem, it is a signal. If you take nothing else away from this video, remember those words. Write them down if you feel called to, and remind yourself of them often. Every time you feel that rage rising, remember, not reaction, not from the head, but that rising, I want you to give yourself permission to ask yourself, what is this trying to protect? Often the trigger is not the wound. The real wound is older. And when we even react, then often it's from the age or timeline that initial wounding occurred, not to the situation at hand. The real wound is normally quieter, it's buried, and rage is the flare gun to bring your attention back to it, but normally we do not get there. Rage shows you where your sovereignty has been compromised, often years before the moment you are reacting to. So when you feel it rise, just know your body is not betraying you, it is trying to protect you. Rage is an energy, raw, potent, and transformative. Rage is one of the most electrically charged emotional states that a human can generate. It heightens awareness, floods the system with power, sharpens intuition, and reveals what truly matters. Most people waste this energy by exploding outwards or collapsing inwards and allowing it to boil or dissipate. Reaction versus suppression. And from an occultist perspective, these are both huge untapped potential energy sources. When you learn to hold it, to listen to it, to sit with it, and you learn, importantly, how to redirect it and channel it, rage does become a force for creation and not destruction. And if you haven't experienced this yourself through occult work, it can be a little harder to understand why rage is such a powerful energy source. And when it's used ritualistically, it's not for vengeance. It's not to get back at that person that has made you feel that rise of rage. No, it's actually used consciously. Even without the event, it just becomes that power source that you have done the hard work and training to be able to tap back into at any time without a trigger or external catalyst to cause that to rise. When you know what it's like to tap into that on demand, it can become a generator for positive and altruistic work. Rage is a descent into the self that you have buried. Just like in the poem, there is a version of you waiting deep within, the one who remembers your worth, who holds your boundaries, who carries your fire, and who refuses to be silenced. The part of you who remembers why you came here. Rage is the rope that pulls you down to meet them, not to drown you, but to reunite you. Sometimes it does it in a brutal way, not explosively projected at others as you may think. In my case, when I truly met my sacred rage, my head literally exploded. A moment of intense rage with reason became the unforgivable boundary that was crossed and the primal scream from deep within that could no longer be suppressed. The way this came out was like a pressure cooker until my rage found a weakness in the blood vessels in my cerebellum, and the blood-curdling rush that turned my world upside down instigated my cosmic course correction. More on this another time. And though it was life-changing, doesn't even begin to cover it, I still stand by it was the best thing that has happened to me. But I hope you learn to meet your rage before it needs to be so dramatically noticed. Conscious rage is a spiritual technology. When you stop reacting impulsively and start responding intentionally, rage, even if it's dialed down to look more like anger or frustration, but now we know the difference, this can become a compass, a teacher, a ritual tool, a source of power, a catalyst for change, and a doorway into shadow integration. It's not about being angry. It's about being awake. It's about being authentic and honoring your sovereignty. A moment of deeply understanding your rage as a guide and to what it is actually trying to bring your attention to is worth any you can spend projecting it at what feels like the problem. And without the distance to witness your sacred rage non-judgmentally, you will miss its teachings every time. The body knows before the mind does. Rage is physical. It's somatic. It's instinctual. The body acts before your thoughts catch up. Learn to go with it instead of fighting it. Witness it. I still am talking about conscious response, not reaction. But remember, the mind is where anger comes from. And that's not what we're talking about. Again, unlike anger being a more head reaction in origin, with rage, you want to look for things like a tightening of the chest, heat rising up. Again, that upwards trajectory that we've spoken about. Your pulse will quicken and you will either have a severe need to speak or to withdraw. Talk about hedging your bets both ways, but the distance in between the rage and the want to react is what you're paying attention to there. These are not signs of failure. These are signs of truth. Your body is saying something here matters. When was the last time you truly stopped to dig deeper on that?